Welcome, Holly, to the More Than Moms podcast. We are so excited to have you. We were just saying that you are our first soon-to-be mom on the pod. We've had pregnant moms who are on to their second or just moms in general, but we've never had the perspective from a mom who is almost in it, but not a mom yet. And Dale and I were just saying how we don't really remember that perspective anymore. So a lot of our audience is someone like you. So we're really excited to hear your thoughts. But we wanted to start with something that you posted earlier in the year. And you shared about the decision to have a baby. It was something that you actually took time to take inventory with your husband to see if this is something that you wanted to do. And you shared very openly about it, which we really loved because I think a lot of the time we think of like, you get married, then you have a kid. It's like the natural next step. And we're always asking people who just get married, when are you having a kid? Not, do you want to have children? And to take a step back and think about, do I actually want that? I think is very important. I think more people should do it. So would love to hear about that decision, the community's response when you shared it, and then how you moved through that period.
Yeah. So I think in my relationship with my husband, Carrie, we tend to not do things based off of like societal pressure. We dated for 8 years. We took our time to get engaged. We didn't even know if we wanted to get married. So I think when it came to kids, we really just didn't really listen to the outside noise. We just started to tune into ourselves and see what we wanted. This was the most permanent decision we can literally ever make. And for me, I can't just like blindly jump into something. And I want to go into parenthood not resenting like this decision because I just thought like, oh, well, this is what we were supposed to do. So yeah, when I opened up about it on Instagram, I was really surprised at how many other women and couples felt the same way. And just, I think there's just this taboo thing with having to like feel like, you want to have kids and that you're broken or like maybe you're not meant to have kids if you're questioning it.
I really think I'm such a believer that anyone I know who has questioned whether they should have kids and really thought about this decision ended up being like some of the best parents because they know that it's a big undertaking and they're not taking it lightly and they know the life change a child brings to them, their family, their dynamic. So I do think when you take these decisions very seriously, it shows how important it is to you. And I think that so much of motherhood, we try to act like, oh, it comes so easily. It comes so naturally. I was meant to be a mom. I was meant to be like frolicking in the meadow with like a pregnant belly. And it's just, sometimes it's just overdone. And it's like, let's get real for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, I had never taken the time to envision myself as a mom. Growing up, I was like a balanced girl. I wasn't only playing with dolls. I wasn't only playing with like more boyish things. So, and I wasn't doing like make-believe weddings and that kind of stuff. So I think ever since I was young, I was just very like rooted in reality and just doing things that I want to do. Like most people don't really take the time. They either do it or they're just like, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to do it. And so I think there is a lot to be said for the people that go to therapy and really talk with their partner and open up about the fears and the questions about all of this, because there's no going back.
100%. So Jay Shetty just had a podcast episode on this last week with his wife, and they haven't had kids yet. I think they've been married for about 5 years. So they're fielding a lot of these questions. And one of the things he said, it's like, instead of thinking like, it's not just, do you want to have kids? It's, are you ready for your entire like life, your identity, your day-to-day responsibilities to change? Are you ready to not just pick up and take that trip? I know you travel a lot because your husband is a photographer and there's a lot of like that spontaneity, which I love so much, but those are things you have to think about. Like your identity is going to change whether you like it or not. So taking time to actually think about if you're ready for that. And also for you, like you've been a model since you were 15, right? There is going to be a change probably in that industry for you and going back to work, whatever that looks like, if you choose to, there's going to be a change in that. It has to be like, are you ready for it? And you have to think about that. You can't just go into it blindly, as you said, then you're going to kind of resent it.
Yeah. I think my biggest fear was feeling like I'm losing myself. What if this changes my relationship with my husband in maybe a not so positive way? It could also change it in such a beautiful way. But the only version of life that I have ever known is to be selfish and to only think about myself. And so to know that I'm voluntarily choosing to, in a way, blow that up and just go about a whole other path is terrifying. This is the only version of me that I have ever known. And so I think with anything that you're going to do, it could be if you're moving, if you're breaking up, if you're, taking a new job, like there's a lot of fears that come with it. And I think growing up, I used to brush a lot of things under the rug and just not really tackle things head on and talk about my fears and my anxiety and my struggles. And if I've learned anything, it's like opening up can really provide so much clarity.
And opening up with your partner too, to hear about their fears.
Being able to talk with Carrie. So just for context, Carrie and I were always on the same page. Neither one of us knew 100% like, yes, we want to have a kid. We both were like, I don't know, I'm on the fence. We're both fence sitters. So I think in a way that made it even harder because there wasn't one of us being like, this is going to be awesome. I promise, like we can do this. So it really took both of us having to, go inward and really see what we wanted for our lives because our lives are not, we don't have just like normal jobs. We travel a lot and we have a lot of freedom. We have dogs. So like that kind of grounds us a little. We can't just go out.
Which is good
for hours, but it's good prep. Yeah. But yeah, I think our lifestyle change was one of the biggest fears that I had to kind of grapple with. Yeah.
What was the thought process that you went through? Like, walk us through that. You mentioned that one of the questions, when you even were questioning it, you kind of was told that's an inkling towards like, you're probably like, you should have a kid. So what were things that like conversations or what you had with yourself or Carrie or a therapist that you or friends like that you went through to come to this conclusion?
I feel like I did a lot. I obviously first it started with Carrie because we just needed to get on the same page and see where we were at. And then once I started talking to my girlfriends, I was like, oh, wait, we're all freaking out. We're all scared. Okay, that's interesting. Like I thought most of my friends either knew if they did or didn't. So that kind of was comforting to know, okay, a lot of us are really nervous about this next chapter in this big change. And then 2 years before I got married, or about a year and a half before I got married, I started seeing this mental health coach, energy healer, therapist woman. And she helped me prep a lot for like my wedding and just life changes and all that. And so the topic of kids was kind of in that session stuff as well. I did a MDMA mushroom ceremony.
Love this. I
spoke to a psychic. I spoke to channelers. I did astrology like things, and what's really interesting is every single person I spoke to, no matter what their field was, all said, there is one child that is meant to come through for you. Like over 5 years, every single time I would talk to someone, they all were like, no, there's one child. I think it's a girl. She like has to come through. She's literally meant to come through to change your life and your career.
Wow, Dale has something to say about psychics and predicting her.
Every time I've been pregnant, a psychic has predicted it.
But before she knows, she's like, no, I'm not pregnant. And then the psychic's like, you're pregnant. She's like, no, I'm not. And then she had salmon and she was like, I can't stand the smell of salmon. Like, and here we are.
Well, it's for my second. I saw a psychic and she was like, I see a baby. And anyway, the next day I kind of was like, maybe I should take a test. And I ended up being pregnant. We have a whole episode on that. It's funny because I remember when I was also grappling with the idea, I knew I wanted to have kids, but I didn't know when because I was also a lot of fear. And I remember, I think it was like in a yoga class or something. And I was just going back and forth and back and forth. And I remember the teacher was like, feeling ready isn't a feeling. It is a choice. And I was like, and then once I made that choice, it was like all I could think about. There was no going back. Like I had to be pregnant yesterday. So when you like made that decision, were you like, okay, now it has to happen? Like, were you anxious about it and like wanting to get pregnant ASAP? Or was it something that was like, okay, I made the decision. Were you all in once you made that decision?
I mean, I feel like we kind of made the decision like the day we tried. We had obviously been like, okay, I think around May, maybe we'll be open to trying. And starting in January, we had started to like prep our bodies, and I got my husband meeting my doctor, and we both did no alcohol. We really were like weight training, doing therapy, really trying to get like our bodies in a good spot to conceive if we wanted to. It wasn't, we are going to, it just was, okay, let's just feel like we're in a spot where if the day comes, we're going to try. And so, yeah, I think that month leading up to it, I felt so much pressure to be like, oh my God, it's May. I feel like I'm supposed to know if we want to try and have a kid. And I was really, really stressed. I think being a fence sitter is so stressful. And there's just so much pressure to be like, and it's not even the outside pressure. It's your own internal voice being like, make a decision, make a decision, make a decision. We both just chose to get off the fence. We're like, the only way forward is to just make a decision and move forward. I can't keep waffling back and forth. It's going to drive me crazy.
And then you also mentioned that you got pregnant faster than you expected.
Yes, we got pregnant very, very fast.
Right. So it was kind of like you made a decision and then you were pregnant.
And then it was like, and I was like,
there's like no turning back.
Oh my God, it happened.
So walk us through when you found out.
So Carrie knew 2 days after we tried, he was like, you're pregnant. We were at a friend's wedding in France, and we were like mid dance floor, 4 a.m., like sweaty dance party. And he's like, you're pregnant. I go, one, I don't think it's even literally possible yet. I don't think it's like implanted, but okay, why do you think? He's like, no, I know you're pregnant. It worked. Wow. I was like, oh my God, hold on. Let me enjoy the rest of this trip. Like, this is crazy. And so we went about the rest of that trip. He kept saying, I know, like, you feel this way because you're pregnant. You got sick. I got like norovirus or something and was so sick. And I was like, no, I think that was just a coincidence. I don't think that was like a pregnancy thing. And then we got home. My brother had come to stay with us for a few days, and I kind of put him through like a wellness spiritual boot camp. Like, we did breath work and we did this place called Reality Center. And yeah, I was kind of like distracting myself with him. And then once he left, Carrie's like, okay, you're officially 2 days late on your period. You're never late. You should take a test.
I was like, how he knows your cycle so well.
I'm like, what are you talking about? I know my body. Like, I have little cramps. Like, I think my period's going to start tomorrow. Trust me. Like, we were just traveling and jet lag and all this stuff. Like, of course, my period's going to be maybe 2-3 days late. Day 4, I'm still in denial. And Gary's like, okay, you need to go get a test. So I went and got a test, and I sat in my car before I got home. And I remember thinking, things could change in a matter of minutes. Like, this might be my last moment fully alone with myself, like not growing a human, not thinking about another human, not worrying about them. And I really just kind of took a moment to be like, if this is happening, like, this is my last moment. So I went in the house and I asked my pendulum, am I pregnant? It said no. And I was like, I knew it. Okay, we're good. But I think the pendulum was just picking up on what I thought was the answer. And so I took the test, covered it. Carrie and I sat in the kitchen. We did it together. I propped the camera up just in case. I was like, this isn't going to go anywhere, but whatever, like, just in case. And we uncovered it. My whole being just like blew up. I just was like, oh my God. It wasn't the traditional excitement video. It was very shocked and surprised and a lot of silence. Just like, whoa, it worked.
Did you have the 2 lines or where it said pregnant, not pregnant?
2 lines.
And was it very clear?
Like, so dark.
Because you were past your period. Yeah.
So dark. Where I was like, is it twins? Oh, no. Now we have a whole other thing to worry about. And yeah, it took us about 20 minutes to just like stare at it and then look at each other and be like, oh, okay. But what's so interesting is that there was just the most peaceful, calm feeling that like washed over me. I saw it and I was shocked and surprised, but I was also very, very calm and peaceful about it. It just felt like, okay, I'm surrendering. This is what's happening. We made a decision and here we are.
So beautiful. What I love so much is how mindful you are, just like in every stage of the story. But I think what really stuck with me is just like sitting in your car before taking the test. Like I didn't even think to do that. Like I was so in my head, but taking that time to yourself and having that last moment where you're just worrying about yourself, I think is so beautiful and will really carry with you through motherhood. And another thing that's so great about your story is that you've really managed to tune out society's noise and not care what other people do and say. You're kind of like in your world, like blinders on, you doing what works for you with your husband and doing things unconventionally or whatever that way you want to do it. And I think that's really going to prepare you so well for motherhood because there's so much noise. And I've struggled a lot. I know Dale struggled a lot with noise, comparison, opinions. Everyone thinks they're credible. Or sometimes, honestly, because when I was a first-time mom, I thought everyone else was more credible than me if they had more kids even. And I thought they were a quote unquote expert. Or even doctors. Sometimes, doctors, practice what they learn at medical school, but sometimes that's not what your gut says. And I think it's very hard to tune in to your gut and just parent from that place of an intuition versus what everyone's saying. So I'm curious to hear if there's any just weights that people have told you, because I really try to refrain from saying that because, again, that was my experience and my journey. And I don't think we should project just wait until this happens and just wait until that happens. But has anything noticeable come up that people keep kind of sharing that you're like, no, that's not going to be for me? Or
I think I put up very clear boundaries from the start that I wasn't open to any feedback.
Good.
Before I announced, I put up a thing, at least on social media, just saying this is my experience. If this is different from your experience, that's your experience. I am just sharing from my perspective. And if there's something you feel that I need to do differently, please keep it to yourself. I am navigating this on my own. I'm navigating this with my husband. And thankfully, I really haven't had many just waits.
No, that's good.
Which has been nice.
That's
and
good.
I've heard a lot of them just from my friends, from the things that they've been told. So I think I already have them all in my head anyway.
Yeah.
That I don't need to hear them to be like, I know that could happen.
And commenting on your body. Do you find that a lot of people are doing that? Because I find from the second you're pregnant, people start commenting on your body. Then when you have the baby, they're like, oh, you look so good. Or, oh my goodness, you just had a baby 2 months ago. There's just constant talking about how we look once you become, it's like you're opening it up just because you have a bump, you're opening it up for other people to comment on.
Yeah. I think because of modeling, I've been in a world where everyone comments on my body from starting at 15. So it hasn't really affected me as much as I think I thought it would. I definitely was nervous when I found out I was pregnant. I was like, oh no, is this going to really mess with my mental health and my, how I view myself and that kind of stuff. But there are some people that are like, oh my God, you're 6 months. Oh wow, how are you going to make it to February? And I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm that big, but okay, thanks. I'll make it there.
And how is that in your career?
So for Wealthy Belly, my wellness lifestyle Instagram, it's great. It feels like it kind of bleeds into that whole world perfectly. With modeling, it's funny with modeling, you think, oh, I'm going to be pregnant and then maybe you'll get booked for pregnancy jobs, but they want you at a specific point. And so I'm technically not big enough yet. So I still have to be more pregnant to be able to be booked for maternity jobs. So at least for modeling, there is a very small window that's 2-3 months that I'll be able to do some photo shoots. But then postpartum, I think, is going to be very different because you're going to have to wait a while for me to come back.
This is a random question, but I feel like I've always wondered this about pregnancy and modeling. Are there models who aren't pregnant that are pregnant models that they put on a suit, or are they always pregnant? Because sometimes I see these models that I'm like, there is no way that girl is pregnant. She'll be wearing clothes.
Everything looks completely normal on them.
But do you think they do that? When they need
I've had to wear a bump before.
Okay, there you go. I knew it. Yeah. I knew it on some of these people. I'm like, there's no way that girl looks way too snatched to be pregnant.
A lot of e-com jobs. So like when you're just
Yes.
like scrolling and shopping online and it's just like the product shot of the shirt.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just someone with a bump.
Right.
But then more like editorial things or more things that are real maternity clothing kind of brands, that's usually a real pregnant person.
I know. I had a inkling. Wrapping up the whole, confusion, wondering about pregnancy, if it's becoming a mom, if it's for you, like what advice would you give to someone who's in this state? Because I know a lot of women come to you, they say they feel the same way. There's women, just people don't talk about this enough. So what would be your advice?
I think mainly that it's okay to be confused. This is such a huge shift and such a big decision that like you are not broken if you can't figure out which way you're leaning. And I really can't stress enough, like really dive into these fears. Like this is a very beautiful, rare opportunity to confront a lot of those deeper subconscious things that you might have been pushing away. And a lot of that stuff can be tied to just stuff from your childhood and stuff with your parents. And I think it's a beautiful opportunity, regardless of if you choose to do it or not, to really get to know yourself better and grow as a human and just evolve.
I think that's such a good point because I think even trying to conceive or preparing your body, like you learn so much about your body and yourself when you go through this. Of course, as you become pregnant and become a mom, you learn so much. But even like the idea of like, if it's taking, a longer time for some people, to reframe it as also that is information that you're learning about your body. Or even if it's quick, like you're learning new discoveries about your body that you may have not found out before or without going through this journey. So sometimes I know that you've also had your health history and Lyme disease, and you got diagnosed at 23 or you found out. So what was that like? And in terms of trying to, I guess, think of having kids, like did it impact that at all? And how did you find out about Lyme disease?
Yeah, and just to follow up with Dale, it's like your body went through so much. And the fact that now it's pregnant, like that's so beautiful. Like you've really had this like healing journey where you've healed yourself to now that it can be at a point. Cause I know you lost your period too at times, like your body is ready to have a baby and is growing this beautiful human. So it's kudos to you for doing so much work on your body to get to that place.
It's been a lot of years of working on my physical body. I think Lyme and mold and all my health issues really prepared me beautifully for pregnancy. Going through all those health struggles, I had so many years of feeling horrible, but still having to show up and put on a, happy face and go to work and find energy from, the deep pits of nowhere. And so I think in a way, going through all of those health struggles has made pregnancy, at least right now, a breeze. Because I'm like, this is nothing compared to what I had to go through all those years with all my health issues. Learning to tune in and trust my body that it knows what to do and it knows how to tell me when something's off and to really like listen to it has been such a gift because ever since I got pregnant, I haven't been anxious once. I haven't doubted myself or my body once. I really surrendered to my body that it would know what to do. And if it's not going to work out, then it's not going to work out. There's probably nothing that I could really do to change the outcome. So all I've been able to do right now is just trust and surrender in my body and hope it gives me clues if something's off. But I'm in it and trying to be present.
That's beautiful.
Enjoy this very short journey.
Had my first baby when I was pregnant. I don't know about you, but I definitely was more fearful of things, quote unquote, going wrong, going to that doctor and being like, oh my God, like getting a little bit too anxious. But I also think it's not just the work you've done on your body. You've done a lot of inner work and self-work. And I think that's something a lot of people don't talk about. But I remember when I was pregnant and then when I had my daughter, especially in that first 6 months, I did a lot of inner work and I did a lot of therapy because it's interesting how a lot of childhood stuff comes up during that process. I think especially having a girl, you're a girl, it brings up a lot of these, I don't know, past patterns or maybe limiting beliefs you had or potential traumas. And I think it's a really great place to work on healing that so that you're not passing it on. And there's this amazing book, I don't know if you've read it, called The Conscious Parent by Dr. Shefali. And it's just really incredible. It's like taking away your ego from parenting and parenting from this like super conscious place of this new soul coming into the world without projecting all of your own shit. Like a lot of the times, sometimes you'll say, oh, this is good and this is bad, but these kids are just so pure. There's no good and bad, right? And I think it does take a lot of inner work on yourself before to prevent that projection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these babies choose us.
Yes.
To help us grow or to show us our own things. I read this book, Spirit Babies.
Oh, I've heard about that.
I read that before I got pregnant. And I think I don't know if that's why we got pregnant quickly, but I started kind of like trying to channel and talk to whatever soul was up there that wanted to come through and kind of gave them the okay to come through. Like, hey, okay, we're ready if you want to. And then I ended up actually speaking to a spirit baby reader.
Of course.
One of the other things I
did.
did. Of course I did. And she actually had to reschedule my call. I had it originally booked for the week before I found out I was pregnant. I had booked it like a month in advance. So like I was not pregnant when I booked it. And then I found out I was pregnant and she had to reschedule to the following week. And I was really bummed because I was like, oh, this is going to make her job so easy. Like, obviously there's a spirit baby that came through and now her job's done. Like, she doesn't have to tell me anything. So I went into the call and didn't tell her I was pregnant. Yeah. I just was like, let's see if she's the real deal. And it was really interesting. She was like, this baby, whenever you're ready, really wants you to tap back into your spiritual practices. And same with your husband. Like, this baby wants you to go deeper. And then she started talking about all this other stuff. Like, oh, have you been seeing a lot of butterflies and all this stuff? And I was like, yes, there have been 40 butterflies flying around our house for the past 2 weeks, ever since we got back from our trip before I found out I was pregnant. She's like, oh, that's your baby. That's your baby communicating through butterflies. So now I connect butterflies to her. But I do think, it's just a beautiful spiritual shift that happens with babies. And then when they come through, it's like so many lessons and such a mirror to seeing how much more you can do for yourself and all the other work that needs to be done.
I wonder if you can go see a spirit baby specialist like after, like if you want to know if you want to have a second or third kid. Like,
absolutely.
I feel like a lot of our community, as much as it is deciding if you want to be a parent, there's a lot of us out there, myself included, do we want to have another kid? And it's this tough space because we want finality. We want to know exactly and it's getting comfortable with like, I don't know what the future holds. And no one wants to be in that space. Like, I want to know if I'm done so I can like pack my shit up and move on. We don't know exactly what we want. So I think that would be an interesting conversation to have with the spirit baby specialist.
Yeah, maybe we should
absolutely.
Sign up. I think you should.
I think I should.
I think you should.
Psychic told me that she saw a third.
Yeah.
It's a girl. It's a girl, but I don't know.
Everyone I've talked to is
every time I get on the phone with her, she says that. So,
but I think it's going back to, it's like, it's really hard when people around you are doing something and to just be like, quiet the noise and just do you. Like at preschool, there's this mom and she wanted one child and she's done. And she's very clear about that, her and her husband. And then recently, I guess since preschool started about 3 months ago, she's like, you know what, I think I want to have a second. And a lot of it is because seeing a lot of siblings coming in, a lot of moms are pregnant at preschool and whatnot. And it's so hard because society does like come in and it's like, how do you block it out and be like, no, like what do I want? And I think that's something so hard to do. I'm still greatly learning that. There's just so many things to compare to, so many other people in your surroundings. It's very hard to zone in.
Yeah, I'm going into this. I think another thing that helped me figure out if we were going to have a child was, let's just get to the point where we're open to having one. Just get there. I think a lot of people go, are you going to have kids? How many kids do you want? And it's like, there's always multiple. And you're like, it's okay to have one child.
Yeah.
It's okay to be one
totally
and done.
Okay.
So I'm in a place right now where I'm okay if this is my only child and my only experience to be pregnant. I think that's why I'm trying to be so present and just really soak up every moment and every week and all the changes, because this might be my only experience. But the psychic does say that there's a boy waiting. So he's patiently waiting. And I'm like, oh boy.
You know what? It's a good point. Like, I don't know about you, Dale, but I don't know how present I was with my first, I feel like was more present being pregnant. But my second, I don't feel like I was present to enjoy the second pregnancy.
But how could you possibly, like when you have a toddler and you can't just go and rest when you want to, like being pregnant the second time is a wildly different experience than the first time. And my friend who's now pregnant with the third is like, it's a wildly different experience than the second, which is very different than the first. So I think knowing that like your second is never going to experience the version of you before you had kids and pregnant, because we could just like, we could spend all day like talking to psychics and getting the massages and just leaning into pregnancy, where the second one you can't, which like is good and bad. Like I think some parts of me were like, it was a great distraction. It made time move quicker. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, oh, fuck, like I just need a night off, you know?
I don't know if I'll be okay having to go through pregnancy again, already having a living, breathing child.
You know what? You just do it.
It's such a luxury to be pregnant with no one. Like, you just get to do whatever you want to do. I'm like really soaking this up because the second one could be a very, very different experience.
I'm excited for like, if you choose to have a second, all the spirit baby people and psychics you're going to be speaking to, we'll have to do a round two. But okay, so speaking of the birth of this child, you have been very intentional, I'm assuming, with your birth team. And I want to talk birth team, birth plans, like really kind of visualizing that experience if you've done so. Because I know in your early 20s and when you were going through Lyme, you probably had a lot of different doctors being dismissed, saying you don't have this, don't have that, and really chasing for an answer. So I'm sure that made you much more intentional with choosing your team this time. So walk us through that, what that process was like for you.
I've been very intentional with my birth team and less so with my birth plan.
Okay.
I feel like I really chose a team that like, I don't need to explain a single thing to. They get it. They already know exactly what I want. Their method is my birth plan, I guess you would say. So I think for me, a birth plan potentially would make me feel too rigid and too tied to a specific outcome that when I am in labor, I'll be so focused on like, but no, don't do that. Don't do that. This is how I want it. And take me out of the moment, feeling like I have to be tough and I need to protect myself. So I have my preferences of what I want, and I voiced that to my birth team, but I did choose an OB that can do both hospital and home birth. We can decide the day of if we want. So there's flexibility with that. I have a hypnobirthing doula, and then she'll help carry as well. And that's kind of it. I changed my provider at 14 weeks. From my like traditional OB. I just had an intuitive pull towards this other woman who I love deeply, and she's just amazing and she just gets it. So I think I chose to just choose people that I trust a lot, that I won't have to like put up a fight with if they're going to suggest something that maybe isn't in my birth plan. I want to be very, very flexible in this process because things can change quickly. I've never done birth before. I don't know what the experience is going to be like. And I want someone that's just going to help me enjoy the experience in whatever way that looks like.
I feel like it's really smart what you're doing because the people you have in the room is so important. Like we had a doula on the podcast and she spoke about you remember during birth, not the outcome, not what happened, but how you felt and who made you feel a certain way. And I think that is so underrated. Like I will always remember this one nurse who just like was cheering me on, who was the kindest, warmest smile. And then I also remember like my doctor the first time who I didn't love, she kind of just looked at me like she was defeated because it was taking so long. And I was like, I am not going to use her again. I don't want her in the room. Like she was a great doctor, like on paper, everything. But I just remember that feeling.
It's an energy.
And it's an energy. And I think it's really great to, in advance. And like, I didn't do the whole doula, but I think the first time it would have been helpful. And I think that it was more just because I didn't understand the weight of the people in the room. And we're so fixated on epidural, not epidural, which I think is important. But at the end of the day, it's really about who you have in there that I think can make or break like your birth experience.
Yeah, my OB, when I had my first call with her before I had chosen her, she had just said, I am so protective of the energy in that room. If there's someone in there that is stressing you out, if there's a nurse that's coming in that's poking and prodding way too much, like they're out. I am so protective of you, keeping you in the zone, making sure that, you don't get stressed out so that it slows everything down. Like we want to keep the room tight and we are not just letting people in and out. And it's so important. And so I think that's another reason why I chose her, because I was like, oh my God, she understands like the spiritual side of birth too, and the energetic side of it. And that this isn't just a medical procedure of, hey, come in, get the baby out. We got to do everything necessary to get it out just because time.
Right. You're not fixing a broken leg. You're birthing
this
your
is a
future
beautiful experience. And there are lots of beautiful births. There are lots of scary ones. Like there's a mixture of things. And I'm trying to just go in with a team that feels very supportive and like good energy and good vibes.
I feel like I know exactly who you're having. Same as Vanessa?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. She had an amazing birth team.
Yeah.
Actually, did you have Nina?
Yeah.
Okay. So Nina, I worked with her too. She did hypnobirthing with me. She wasn't my doula, but she did hypnobirthing with me. And my husband got involved too. And it was amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
Best energy ever. But I also had a doula, and I think they're just so important in the room. And the energy really can make or break for you.
I'm like excited for her to help my husband, because I'm like, he can be a worrier and get very like protective of me and making sure everything's okay. And I'm like, I cannot be worried about you. And if you're worried about me, I need to be in the zone, blinders on, like give me headphones or something, like you're going to be good. Right. And so when I was talking to Nina, she was like, no, I'm not just your doula. I'm both of your doulas. I will, if he gives me a look that's holy crap, like what's happening. And she's like, we're good. Don't worry. Don't freak her out.
So, you know how you see those like videos of the dad like falling, like fainting?
Yeah, fainting.
Or complaining about the hospital bed, the hospital chair. And it's like, I ain't worrying about you. I just birthed a human. Like you could sleep on the concrete for all I care.
I'm like, I think I'll be fine. I'm more worried about him. So I want him to feel like he's got someone to also feel supportive. This is an experience for him too. I think the dads get so lost in the shuffle sometimes. Yeah. And I'm like, I cannot imagine just being handed a child, being like, here's your baby. And you're like, oh my God, like my wife grew that. And she's been connected to it for 9 months, and he gets to feel little kicks every once in a while. And then, so like, I understand why it takes the dads like a little bit of time to kind of connect and bond with the baby.
It is something that it does. I feel like it doesn't hit them. And on the topic of worrying, I'll never forget after I just pushed out the baby, my husband started like crying, and he's definitely not like the most emotional person. And I'm like, wait, what's wrong? What happened? And I like start freaking out. And I'm just like, no, it's okay. Like he's just emotional. And I was just like, again, it's that worry. I'm like, oh,
are you okay?
Okay. But like for me, it kind of hit me a little bit later, because you're kind of just like, this baby's just thrown on your chest, and you're like, it can be very overwhelming. And I think that like, like sometimes it's not this like, your mind isn't in the place of like, oh my gosh, like my baby, like you are, like it is, but it's also like what is happening. So much has been going on. And you just feel like it's an out of body experience. So it's also just sometimes just you get a lot of new emotions or like unexpected emotions.
Yeah, and right when you're processing that, they're like, now breastfeed. And it's like another thing that you're like, wait, so wait,
do you want this? Do you want vitamin K or do you want vitamin C? Do you want vitamin E? Do you want I'm like,
I don't know. Give me a moment to.
And then I drink this. Like there's just so many things that go on. That's why I honestly, at first I was like, how could people have home births? And now I'm like, I really understand home births, because you don't have all of those like people coming in and out, the nurses, the sounds, the machines, the lighting is so strong. Like there's just like so much noise.
There's something to it.
There's really something to it. And like maybe if I have a third, I should have a home birth, because I don't know how you could do a home birth with 2 kids in the house. I think that would stress me out. It would stress me out.
I've seen videos online where they're like, the kids are part of it. They're like, or they're like in the tub. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about that.
Cool. Like get the dog in here too.
There was something.
Whatever.
Yeah, I have seen that. I'm like,
No, but like there's a lot of like
mm.
distractions in a hospital that you don't have at home. Like at home, you are completely calm and
in the
peaceful.
zone.
You can
Like,
control everything. Not, I guess, everything, but like the little things you can control, the, surroundings,
Yeah.
the atmosphere. I don't know.
I love the hospital.
I know.
It's like
Yeah,
It's
I
nice.
could live there for
Yeah.
a week. I'm like, I'll have another kid just to have that 1 week at the or like check myself in the hospital. No kids, nurses tending to me. I'm living my best life, vacation. But I will say it is really the one thing is like in the postpartum care when they come in every hour to check your like blood and to give you vitamins or like to give you medication, and they're like, okay, how's your pain? I'm like, well, I was sleeping, so clearly I was fine. But now that I'm awake, like. And it's just sometimes you're just like, okay, at home they wouldn't
can you
be
just
coming
leave
to
me
ask.
alone for a minute?
I told them,
come
like,
every
if I'm
2
sleeping,
hours.
just assume that I'm fine, and we could go about. But I do find that the postpartum nurses are like anyone that I've come in contact with has been exceptional. Like I have found that these postpartum nurses are a different breed of. Like they are something special because they do stuff to my body that I wouldn't even do to myself. Like after that, I'm like, you are I am like so, I don't know. It just is like so emotional thinking about them.
They're really amazing. So what does the postpartum care look like for you right now? Have you planned anything around that?
It's funny. I feel like I've been more focused on postpartum than the birth. I'm kind of like, birth is going to happen one way or another. Like that is a thing that we'll figure it out. And I think that's another reason why I just trust my team so much. I'm like, they're going to prepare me with all the things and I'll show up and do my little job of let's birth this baby. And then postpartum, I'm like, that's where a lot of stuff can go crazy. So we did book a night nurse. And she'll also be cooking. She's a Chinese night nurse. So she's actually going to be doing confinement for me.
I need to get
I'm going to try confinement. I mean, we'll see. She's very cool.
Is that the 40 days?
5 days, 5 days, 5 days?
No, it's 40 days.
40 days.
Oh, but 5 days on the bed, 5 days in the bed or whatever.
Probably similar, yeah.
That's what Carissa did. She did 30 days.
Yeah, but she's very cool. Her name's Barbara. I'm very excited to get to know her. But
that's awesome.
It was funny. I had to speed date like 5 Chinese nurses on Zoom one day. And they were just like, all right, next. And I was like, hi, okay. And like ran through my questions. And it was a really...
Where did you find them?
Yeah.
They were just this site that's like agents and they matchmake you with nannies.
I feel like I've been targeted on Facebook.
Yeah.
For this. What? Like your ChineseNanny.com.
It's called My Asian Nanny.
I've heard the best things. All our friends who did this, they were living the dream.
Yeah.
All our friends,
like
I'm out here running to Erewhon to get my nurse a Japanese sweet potato, and they're all getting home cooked meals from scratch.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is,
our friends used them and they were like, the postpartum care is phenomenal. They care so much about the mother.
We'll have to have a third.
So they'll be making me like traditional Chinese healing food. So a lot of soup, a lot of broth, a lot of nourishing, warm things. And she'll be making things for Carrie because Carrie was like, hey, what about the dad? Like, does the dad get anything? She's like, of course. Like, I won't forget about you.
So she's 24/7.
She's 24/7. Okay. She'll live with us.
For how many months?
We're going to do 2 months. First month is me and baby. Second month is just baby. And yeah, she seems very knowledgeable about helping with milk supply and helping with inflammation and the water weight and me healing. And
that's amazing.
She's also very cool that she was just like, look, if you don't want to do confinement and like you want to go outside, go outside. If you don't want to eat,
so is there
broth, go like we can order you food. I can cook you anything you want. Like it's not.
Yeah, so they use the principles of like it's Ayurvedic, right?
Chinese
or is
medicine
it Chinese?
and probably maybe some Ayurvedic stuff.
So I did the whole like broths and everything for 30 days. It was great.
Do they traditionally not have you leave the house at all for 30 days?
I think traditional confinement is like you are in the bed for 30 days.
Yeah, and you're
60 days.
You're tended to. They bring the baby.
They bring everything.
I don't know. I like going for my little early stroller walks.
So I'm just going to see how I feel. I think if I can at least make it 2 weeks of like real rest and just have the baby come to me and have my baby.
Are you going to have the baby in the crib right away or bassinet?
We're going to do bassinet. And
next to you or with
we're going to try both and just see how one works over the other, if one is a better option. It just depends on your baby.
Yeah.
I don't know who she's going to be and what kind of, personality she's going to have. If she's going to be a crier and want me close, or if she's kind of more like, I'm safe, I'm cool.
I'm an independent woman.
I'm an independent woman at 3 days old. I'm good, So I don't know. It
And
depends.
how are you finding okay, so you're going to have the baby. Do you feel like you want to be going back to work? Do you feel like you want to have an identity outside of being mom? Do you feel like you want to be staying home, or you're kind of still figuring it out?
So the problem with working for yourself is you don't really have the luxury of getting paid time off. So knowing me, I'll be wanting to get back into some sort of way to make some money. I did find out I think I can get paid California leave.
I heard about
or
that.
Paid leave through the California state disability tax. If you can withhold it through your W-2s, which I have been. So I might be able to get $1,600 a week.
Wait, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. This is news to me.
Yeah, someone DM'd me. They're like, hey, you should really look this up. I know you're not an employee of a company, so you're not going to get paid.
This is important intel.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. So I asked my business manager guy, and he was like, yeah, we've been withholding from your W-2, so you'll be eligible.
Awesome.
So we'll see.
Good.
But, I don't have the luxury of just taking, my sister-in-law gets 7 months off.
Yeah.
Where is she?
Paid 7 months off. She's
US?
at Salesforce. Yeah.
I will say it is one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur and having a kid is this lack of paid time off. And you're always working, but long term, it does pay off when you have the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I went to soccer with my son at 4. I don't have to tell anyone or ask anyone. Take my kid to music class during the day. And yes, there's always more I could be doing, but it's this permission that you don't have to ask. And you could be I can be as present or as little as I want to be. And it's all about you decide those rules for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that each one comes with advantages and disadvantages. And that's just one thing to hold on to when you do think about the long-term vision.
Yeah. My husband and I both work for ourselves. So we're
yeah.
I hope one of us is able to.
Do you think you want to go back into the modeling industry, or you're kind of more focused on Wealthy
Modeling
Belly
will
and
take
Yara?
some time, I can't go right back into it. So that'll take some time. Wealthy Belly will be easy. I can literally prop my phone up in bed and be like, hey guys, this is what's going on. And then Yara, my skincare company.
By the way, that's how her skin looks so good.
Yeah,
guys,
your skin. I am looking at your skin.
Thank you.
I'm damn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us about Yara.
Yeah, Yara was created from my Lyme journey days. I did bee venom therapy for Lyme, so I became obsessed with all things bees and realized there really wasn't a thoughtfully made honey-based skincare company. So I was always using honey, propolis, and royal jelly on my skin during Lyme because I had a lot of skin rashes and eczema and acne. And that was one of the only things that really helped soothe and nourish my skin. So I decided to create a face oil, which has honey and propolis in it with a lot of other plant-based oils. And it's all organic and very high quality ingredients. And then we created our recovery mask, which is honey, royal jelly, and arnica. So also very soothing, great for, I've had a lot of postpartum moms be like, this stuff is saving my skin. It's so healing. And then we're actually creating a belly jelly.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, I love that.
So I've been playing with it. It's amazing. It's really kind of the first of its kind, I kind of think. It's kind of like an oil gel hybrid. Okay. So it's not a serum. It's not
That's awesome.
Oil. And it has a lot of really healing properties in it. So I just
I'm excited for this
confirmed that formulation. Now we got to get to bottling, and
it's hard to find good, clean skincare, especially postpartum. My face broke out in crazy redness. What did I have?
Was it perioral
dermatitis?
Dermatitis, yeah.
Right after I had, I think it was Gemma, 3 weeks later, my skin was so perfect and glowy after birth. And then right away it went crazy. Yeah. I had to go see Vanessa. We had to muscle test for all my creams and she found out the solution. But anyways, your skin goes through a lot. Your hormones go through a lot, and having clean products.
Yeah, everyone says oh, you're going to glow throughout pregnancy. I was I have never felt now because I think I figured out my skincare routine for pregnancy.
Right.
But up until a month ago, I was I feel so dry and dull and lame. My skin does not feel like it's glowing.
Well, it looks great from where we're sitting.
Your girls, they're well, they suck your beauty. So I was
I don't believe in that.
Oh, old wife tales.
I don't believe in the gender. You can tell.
Yeah.
No. I don't think so.
Yeah. But now I have think
So
my
a
skin
50-50
is
chance.
my skin is better. So a lot of hydrating.
Okay. We're just about to wrap up, but what's the one thing that you're most, it doesn't have to just be one because I think it's hard, that you're most looking forward to in this like new chapter of your life?
I think now knowing that I'm having a girl, I think I'm really excited that I get to kind of reparent myself with her. You know, my dad died when I was 2. I was raised by a single mom. I had a lot of anxiety. I want to be the person that I wanted when I was young for her. So I'm really excited to kind of show up for this little person and just do whatever I can to support her, make her feel safe. Like, I think I have so many tools now in my toolbox for helping people through things that I'm just really excited to like have that experience to kind of like create like a new human and help her just blossom into whoever she wants to be and just support her.
So beautiful. And all the inner work that you've done on
Yeah.
yourself is going to help her.
I'm really excited to see who I am in a few years.
Okay, we'll have to redo the pod
what
after.
I feel and, you know, how my husband is. And I think we love our dogs so much that I'm like, I can't even imagine how this is going to go with like a little human that's a mixture of the two of us.
We're so excited for you. We're
gonna
so
be really
excited
beautiful.
for
Thank you
you.
so much, Holly.
Thank you for
course.
sharing your story. And we're
Thank
so excited
you.
to see your next chapter.
Yes, we can't wait.
Thank you.